Gulf of America is, I heard, was going to be a thing. Don't worry, we're not going to
Not
get
the Gulf of America.
We're not. We won't get political on the show. I've lost enough friends over that shit as it is.
Oh man, what's good, bro? What's new?
Nada, man.
How was your week?
It's been good.
Yeah.
Yeah, just trying to like get a lot of work done at this point.
Nice.
I feel like I can see the light at the end of the tunnel for all the. You know what it really is now? It's like I'm finishing up a couple edits, and but like I don't know why albums take so long for me to do. It's just like they don't take long to do, but I overthink them all the time, and then start going through all the pages and the stuff. So
wait, you were just in Miami for a wedding, right?
Yeah.
How was that?
From what I remember, it was good.
Yeah, bro. How was my week? My week was great, actually.
Nice.
So I'm actually going to be shooting a wedding at the Barnes Museum.
Oh, fun.
Finally. This year. So I went to meet one of my couples and did like a little walkthrough, and it was pretty dope.
Depending on where you do the ceremony,
the
lighting's a little tricky.
Because they have that little like garden area, sort of.
If you're doing it outside, you should be fine. I've done one there. We did it inside, and there's like one side that's all windows, and then one side that's all indoor lighting. So it's just like orange and blue. Yeah, so you have to just balance it.
Nice. Well, bro, this week I have a few things.
I'm actually excited for this segment we're going to introduce.
So, without further ado, we decided that we will still keep the hot button topic for you guys, but we want to introduce a segment into our episodes called Dear Couples.
And I don't even know if this is going to be like in every episode, or it just might be me really annoyed one day at a wedding. And you might just see my face on our stories being like, Dear Couples.
Dear Couples, let me talk to you for a second. So with that being said, I want to bring up a few topics that are targeted around couples. Are you ready?
I think, I just want to preface this with.
Okay.
Well, this idea.
Don't sue us.
This idea sort of came from when we were sort of narrowing down sort of how we wanted this podcast to go.
Yeah.
You know, we wanted it to be casual. And the idea was, so what do like
audiences we want to
target? And also, but like, what do a bunch of like industry people and photographers and all that do when we sit down and hang out?
Right.
We bitch and we vent. And
we're all thinking the same thing.
And so it's sort of like, these are things that either piss us off or just things we're kind of like over. And a lot of this came from, you know, there are so many things that happen in a wedding day timeline. And sometimes I ask myself, how many of these things are people doing because they really want to do them, or things that they're doing because they think they're supposed to?
So
you have the list?
I have a list of things that have been grinding our gears. Number one, dear couples, please stop following all the trends that you see on Instagram and TikTok. Now, don't get me wrong. It's okay to get inspiration.
Yeah.
But your wedding should be about your vision, right?
You're right. Don't let my silence mean I don't agree with you. I'm trying to like think of how to say it.
Because they follow these trends to a T. And it's like, bro, put your own flavor to it. It's okay. Like, this is your day. You wanted to remember it the way you put it.
Nothing pissed me off more than like, all right, being on time or getting ready, we know all that stuff. We're like, all right, cool. Like, cool. Everything's set. Okay, we're going to go get in the limo. We're going to head over to the next spot that we're doing. Wait. Okay. All right, we're ready to do this TikTok thing. And they set the camera up and they all stand there. They're like, no, Janet, no, you go back here. No, okay. So, what are you doing? No. We practice this. And it takes them 15 minutes.
Right. 8 takes later.
To get a 3-second video where they're all jumping so it looks like they've changed all at once. And I'm just like.
Okay, I promise Simon and I are not two bitter old heads that we are against social media.
For yourself.
But I mean, I agree with you, bro.
It's just like, this is one of the things, if we're talking about shit that pisses us off, I'm like, come on, man. Like, but here's the thing. On the other flip side of that coin, I've had bridal parties that like prepared. And it took them 30 seconds to do, and I end up seeing the final result. I'm like, oh, that's cute. I like that, you know. But so it's this weird pressure, but at the same time, if it makes you happy, like I guess it's fine.
Yeah, don't listen to us. All right, dear couples, stop the backlit boob cup dress photo.
Okay, wait. I know we wrote that down like that, but this came from me.
Can you explain what the backlit boob cup photo is?
There's this expectation of the photographer getting a shot of the dress hanging up before you get in it, basically. And for me, it's one of those shots that I'm like, why do you want to see the dress by itself?
Should we stop the hanging of the dress photo?
That's what I'm getting at. Stop forcing it. What I mean by that is like,
don't look for hooks everywhere.
If you're bringing 3M hooks so you can hang the dress in a random place, like you're probably forcing it.
I agree.
The thing about it is,
I can't lie. I did do that a couple times.
Oh, I have literally dress stands over here that I brought to weddings in the past.
Dress stands?
Yeah, these two little things that this shirt's hanging on over here. I brought them. Yeah, but I stopped wanting to carry it. But anyway, it's one of the, and it looks so like out of place.
It does.
My thing is that this dress is tailored to look good on you.
Right.
And when you shoot it, unless you have like a legit like dress form or a mannequin, it's not going to look the way it's supposed to look. So with the dress shot, it's sort of like, if there's nowhere to put it where it looks natural, don't feel like you have to do it.
Is this more of a dear photographer versus?
No, because this is dear couples, they want the dress shot. And it's sort of like, dear couples.
Now the photographer's pressured to get this shot.
Dear couples, you don't need the dress shot. But
Okay.
there have been times where I'm like, it's actually really funny. I shot a couple last year where I was like, she had the same vibe. She was like, yeah, I don't need that kind of stuff. It's like, great. And we had this whole conversation about the dress shot. And then it ended up the place she was getting ready. There was like this perfect like hallway with just light coming in over one window and like a closet door that was like, I'm like, oh, the dress would look perfect there. So I took the photo and it looked great. But that's like, oh, there is a place to do this where it doesn't look completely out of place.
This year in my photography, it's going to be more like 70% candid photography. Like I truly don't want it to feel forced. Like I just want them to just be in their element and I capture them.
That was a big change that Magda and I made this year, like the beginning of this year. And there's a lot of reasons for that, but we started doing it and it's definitely hit, struck not a nerve. What's the term I'm looking for?
Struck the core, struck the nerve.
People like it. The boob cup thing comes with forcing it, where it's inevitably what will happen is you'll hang the dress on a window so it's backlit. And if you have a dress that is appropriate for that, whereas it's a thicker material and the light doesn't go completely through it, you can make that kind of work, especially if you bounce a little flash or a little, LED light. So that works in some situations. But what happens is people or photographers really are just like, oh, there's a window, I'll hang the dress on it. And when it's thin, all you do is you see,
straight through the dress. You see the lace.
See the boob cups in there.
See the boob cups.
Like, why would anyone want that photo of their dress?
Wait, that goes back to our last episode. It's all subjective.
Sure.
Right? Maybe they like that.
Maybe they do. I don't understand why. But it's, that's what that note was. Don't force the dress shot.
So this kind of brings me into my next dear couples. Dear couples, please, please, please. I won't say stop, but reconsider adding close to 20 to 30 people in your bridal party.
Okay. Story time.
Whoa, not story time.
Story time. The person that I'm telling this story about, who is another photographer.
He's in the camera.
I love you to death. And you feel the same way I do about this. This is a fellow photographer who I absolutely love. Second shot for her in a nightmare situation.
Just name him. Go ahead.
You know who you are. Renault Winery. I'll leave it at that. But this was, I think it ended up being 15 bridesmaids, 17 groomsmen.
Bro, who has that many friends?
I don't even like that many people.
Bro, what?
So wait.
Who are you asking?
It gets worse. There were 2 ring bearers, 2 flower girls, 2 junior bridesmaids.
What?
It was just...
That seems like they were pressured, though, to make it that big. I'm not putting kids in my bridal party.
I was there. This was not pressure. This was...
Okay. This was...
And... So that in and of itself is like, that's fucking too many people. And the thing you have to remember is like, and we all know this from doing it, is the more people you have, even if they are the most well-behaved people, it takes so much longer to do absolutely everything.
Right.
And
especially when couples don't want to do a first look.
Right. Oh, well, I mean, I don't, if a couple did not want to do a first look and they had a bridal party more than 10 on the side, I don't know if I would take that wedding, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But like, the worst is when you have a bridal party that is more than, say, 7 per side, and it's a city wedding and you're traveling places. You know, someone inevitably is going to be going to the bathroom when it's time to leave. Someone inevitably, and no, I mean, this is
someone has to do their makeup. Someone forgot something on the bus.
Don't take this the wrong way. There will be a bridesmaids who will have to pump at some point. It always happens, you know. Listen, when we had Remy, Magda was pumping between the ceremony and the, like, you know, cocktail hour. Like, I get it. It has to happen, but like that will happen at some point. What we do now is like, if it's more than 5 people, I think for every extra, I have it written down. It's like the math I did, but for every person more than 5 in a bridal party, I add 10 minutes to how much time it takes to get from point A to point B.
Absolutely. Especially because there's times where couples will be like, okay, I'm going to get ready at my mother's house, which is 20 minutes away from the church, which is actually 25 minutes from the portrait location that I want to go to.
Oh, and by the way, the max occupancy of this place is probably like 12 people, and there's going to be 30 here.
And then the venue is another 15 minutes away.
It's insane. And like, I get that you want to have people that are important to you with you all day, but like, it doesn't have to be an official bridal party kind of thing.
Like, we're not saying this because we want you to do this for us, but just be mindful that the more people you add, like you said, the less pictures you're going to have, the less experiences you're going to have.
And no, not at all. And it's inevitably, and I don't mean to generalize this because it's groomsmen are usually just, you know, the horror story wedding I was just talking about. This was 11 a.m. All of the groomsmen were trashed. And there was a dude already passed out.
At 11 a.m.
11 a.m. And I turned and I was kind of laughing about it. I'm like, oh, did you go too hard last night? They're like, oh, we didn't go out last night.
This is this
morning. So he was passed out. And the rest of the day just proceeded to go downhill from there.
At the end of the day, keep your bridal parties reasonable. Ideally, I'm sure Simon and I would rather you probably don't have a bridal party.
Well, so you can go either way with this, but like, I say down with the bridal party.
Yeah.
What I've seen people do, and I don't know if you've had any of these yet, where it's like, we're not having a bridal party, but we're going to have some of our friends come get ready with us.
Exactly.
And what that does is that alleviates, you don't have to have the section where you're taking pictures of the whole bridal party together.
Do individuals.
Right.
Right. Because who's to say you'll be friends with these people in the next 3 years, right?
So it's funny. The guys who were my groomsmen, I had 4.
How many of you like still friends with?
Well, so I'm still friends with all of them. I think so. It was my best friend Matt, who I was just in his wedding in October. We lived together after college, all that stuff.
Like, would you put all those people in your wedding today if you got married?
I would definitely put him in there. The other 3 were actually in my band that I was touring with at the time, and they, you know, they become family. You're literally with them 24/7 most days of the week.
So the answer is no.
I think I would just have a best man if I were to do something like this again.
But let's say you had you could put 5 people in your bridal party that was required. Would you put those same 4 people again?
I think I would probably pick most of them again. No, because what I was going to say is, you know, when you're not in proximity with those people anymore, like we were, you lose touch. However,
that's what I'm saying.
I could text any of them or call any of them.
Well,
whatever,
yeah.
And it's like,
they're still friends.
Right.
But like, wedding photos are lifelong. Like, you're looking at these photos until you're 80, 90 years old. Oh, yeah. So it's like, do you want to have that memory of that person forever?
I mean, in my specific instance, like, I'm happy they were in my bridal party.
Of course.
But I can't imagine having 15 people or even 10 people. I'm like, it's just crazy to me. So dear couples, stop that shit.
I think Simon wants to hop in on this trendy.
So this is one that I feel strongly about because I did this and I know it is. So dear couples, don't think that by not doing a first look, that the first time you guys see each other down the aisle will be so much more emotional.
Oh my God. I knew you were going to say that.
So here's the deal.
Bro, we could, okay. Yeah. Okay.
The biggest reason, and listen, this is your wedding day. If you don't want to do a first look, that is totally your prerogative, and
absolutely.
That's totally fine.
But
and there are a bunch of reasons that I have seen where I'm like, that makes sense. Don't do a first look. But if that reason is only because I want the first time he sees me to be down the aisle, I am telling you from personal experience, it will be just as emotional.
Absolutely.
The emotion of seeing the person you love walking down the aisle will have the same amount of emotional weight even if you've seen them earlier in the day wearing the dress. People who generally have the reasoning to not do a first look to be that emotional moment want their day to be special to them.
But what's to say it can't be special?
That's what I'm getting at.
By doing a first look.
I think that for the thing that for me was
too, it's also for a lot of old school mentality. You know what
that,
I mean?
It's that, and like the fairy tale wedding, like, oh my God, he sees me in a dress. But here's the deal is that like I have explained this to people who are on the fence about it.
And it's changed their mind.
Yeah. And it's
wow.
And here's the thing that you have to remember too. If you want to enjoy your cocktail hour and like be done the ceremony and be like, I can just relax and go see my friends and family now, do a first look.
And a lot of times I feel like couples don't realize doing a first look is probably the only moment throughout the entire day where it's just the two of you.
Yep.
After that, it's straight chaos, especially if you have, like we were just mentioning, 30 people in your bridal party and family and the ceremony. Like after that, you're not having an intimate moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite way to do like that whole schedule is to do the first look, let the couple take a minute. Cause I'll shoot the first look, right? But then I always, like Magda and I will always sort of put the camera down and then sort of just walk away. Sometimes they'll just like talk and like have their moment. Sometimes like, what should we do? And we always say, guys,
enjoy the moment.
Take a moment. Just, you know.
You're not going to get this again.
Because, you're always going to be a little self-conscious when you know you're getting your picture taken. But
exactly.
So we do that. And then the next thing we always do right after that is all the stuff with the bridal party. Because I find that going right from the first look into bridal portraits, sometimes they're still a little like self-conscious.
Yeah.
Whereas you bring all their friends over.
They're drinking champagne.
Right.
And everyone's loose.
And then everyone's sort of having fun. Everyone's messing with each other. And then you go into portraits and it's sort of like everyone's sort of like hanging out like good to go now.
I also tell my couples, take this moment, if you'd like, to also write personal vows to each other. So you'll have your personal vows and then the vows you read in front of everyone during this ceremony.
Speaking of vows,
okay,
I don't know how people read vows in front of that many people.
Bro, I couldn't either. I
mean, that's not something we do as Jews, but you know,
not the Jews.
But like, I could never do that. The whole personal vows at the first look thing is definitely something. If it was around when Magda and I got married in 2014,
damn,
yeah, I know. I definitely would have done that.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
That's cool.
So yeah, we're going to be doing this this little segment.
I feel like the best way, I honestly feel the best way to do this is like, we can maybe do some like during the pod, but it might just be fun to just like, it might just be a social media thing where we just pop on and say, Dear couples. Yeah.
I'm grinding my gears right now about this topic.
It's going to be, I'll tell you, the first one that's going to happen. It's going to be me sitting at the computer and, you know.
Dear couples, I do not want to edit your wedding.
I've gotten some good emails this week. We can talk about off the pod.
Off camera.
We're spicy, but I ain't naming names on here. All right. Do we have a hot button topic this week?
We always have a hot button topic. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Hit me.
All right.
I'm going to chug while he pulls it up.
Okay.
I feel like at some point I need to shotgun a beer on here for old time's sake. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That would be fun.
By the way, I ordered a bar cart.
Oh,
it's a nice low one. I think it might even sit behind this.
Nice. Okay.
It's dangerous.
So this week, I'm going to preface it like this.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay.
We could probably talk about this hot button topic for about 20 to 30, maybe even an hour long. But I want to kind of condense it in about 2 to 3 minutes, if that's possible.
You know I can keep talking. I need to get you the thing from the Chappelle show, the wrap it up box.
Oh, yeah. Actually, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Okay. So being black in this industry, I promise this is not a heavy topic, but
being black in this industry sounds like it's about to be a really heavy topic, Ant. Okay.
So being black in this industry, one thing I've noticed is the wedding industry, or I guess more so the luxury wedding industry,
whatever that is,
right, lacks a lot of diversity. And I've been trying for the last couple of months, even close to like a whole year, trying to figure out why is it that there aren't that many people of color in my circle, like in my industry. Like I network, I meet a ton of people. And when I do, it's always tens of hundreds of like white photographers. Now, I don't think anything's wrong with that, but I just don't understand why there is such a lack of diversity in this industry. Like, what are your thoughts on that? And do you think there is a lack of diversity in this industry?
So I want to make sure I say this
Bro, you don't got to be politically correct. This is
it's not
the Dodge and Burn podcast.
No, it's not
unfiltered.
It's not a political correctness thing. I think that I was brought up in a way where cultural and ethnic diversity were important.
Absolutely.
My parents had a lot of culturally diverse friends, and I don't like the term, I don't see color. Like, that's stupid, and I don't like that term. It's one of those things that when Magda and I got into the wedding industry, we noticed that, like, immediately.
Yeah.
If you don't have a pretty, skinny white couple on the cover, the magazine won't go out. And it's infuriating.
During COVID, during Black Lives Matter, it was all over the place.
Of course.
And then what happened? It's all disappeared.
Yeah, I think that, it's
crazy.
If you want my opinion of why that is, I think that we would not be able to actually have this conversation without talking about systemic racism.
Absolutely.
I was one of those people that during Black Lives Matter, like, was very apparent to me that as much as I thought I understood, I didn't. And I tried to do my best to listen, talk to my Black friends. And I think that part of it comes from whatever this is, the luxury wedding market came from a certain upper class place where it was, you had these couples that could spend this kind of money.
Sure.
And the wedding industry and publications and all that sort of immediately went in on that level of luxury, whatever you want to call it. And that was, a majority of upper middle class white people.
Right.
And so who are the people that got into the industry of working for that? Upper middle class white people. And granted, I am a upper middle class white person. So coming from me, it's easy to just say, fuck, whatever. But
one thing I think I've realized is it just feels like a lot of potential Black couples that want to hire me, they always seem to be hesitant because of my pricing. Like, they are scared to pay, we'll say, like $8,000 for photography for their wedding day. But I'll have couples that are not Black, let's say white couples, that won't bat an eye. They will pay that within a heartbeat because they understand the value that they're getting. They understand my personality. They understand the type of work that I can offer them, the experience.
So what do you think is the difference then?
So that's what I'm saying. Like, versus I'll see other Black photographers, but they're charging like $2,500. They're charging $2,000 for a wedding. Those are going to be the couples that didn't book me will now go book them for their wedding. And then that keeps that type of photographer in that stratosphere of low budget, low tier weddings. And then that prevents them from ever coming up to this, I guess, so-called luxury status or tier of weddings.
Do you think any of that is due to, I'll give you an example. So Magda and I shot a wedding this year that was a mixed race couple, and the bride was Nigerian, I believe. All of the other vendors were Black, first of all, and secondly, mostly only did African weddings.
Yeah.
And you just said this, and it sort of dawned on me like, oh, maybe that's not by choice, but maybe it is. But the other thing that was interesting to me is that, like, the way a lot of these, like, so like the video team really only did African weddings, and they did stuff so drastically different than any other video team, and not in necessarily a bad or good way. I was just like, they just disappeared for a while. I was like, where'd they go? And they were like one at a time bringing groomsmen over to like do. I'm like, I've never seen this before.
Exactly.
And then the DJ only did African weddings, and wasn't really. I'm trying to remember like specifically, but like didn't do a lot of like emceeing. It was mostly just playing music. It was interesting, and I think that I think there is diversity, but it's sort of like in pockets in different sections of it. But as far as like if we're talking the luxury wedding market,
let me tell you, one of my goals for this year is to sort of try and bridge that gap. Like, try to get more people that are in the community, like especially in Philadelphia. There's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of photographers that are of color that have no idea how to actually break into the wedding industry. And I sort of want to provide a way into that system for them.
Absolutely.
So that's something I've been working on. It's a little project that's like a little passion project of mine.
That's
so hopefully, we can start to see more diversity in this luxury market.
Magda and I just gave a workshop on breaking into the wedding industry.
Yeah, there you go.
And I would say it was probably 75% people of color.
There you go.
Black, brown, all those
Exactly.
things. And it was cool to see.
Right.
And, I think for me, as not a minority, well, I'm Jewish, but,
debatable.
Yeah, you know what? I'm a minority. We're Jews. I think that the thing that struck me the most that I would love to see more inclusivity is like these bridal magazines and these publications. Yeah, it's just like, the one I'm talking about. Every time an issue comes out, Magda always says, "Oh, look, another pretty white couple on the cover." It's just like,
maybe Simon should say it and we bleep him out. No, I'm kidding.
I'm not doing it. I think that the people who are watching this podcast who know the circle that we all run around in will be able to figure it out pretty easily.
Exactly.
I just, and I don't want to jump into this in addition to it, but like LGBTQ stuff is also still not represented.
I agree.
And there are photographers who refuse to shoot
those type of weddings.
And it makes me sad, but...
Yeah, man, this was a great episode.
Yeah.
As always.
Ooh, there's so much more I want to talk about.
I know, bro. Episode 6. Yeah, man.
Cool. So
next week, we have a very special guest.
Yes, we do. Are we going to reveal it? Or do we want to...
Should we?
No, let's wait. Nah. It'll be a surprise.
We have a very special guest. This is going to be the first guest that we have had on this podcast. And I hope you guys stay tuned to see what it's all about.
Yeah, and I think that Ant and I had a little meeting a couple weeks ago talking about we did a couple episodes like, what do we think? Do we like him? Do we not like him? And I think we wanted to really turn this into what happens when a bunch of wedding vendors or just creatives hang out. What do we actually talk about?
Yeah.
Rather than trying to like educate or just, I don't even know what we were doing, but I think this is working. So
yeah, and as you guys can see, since like the last episode, we kind of turned our couches to have more of a dialogue.
But I think with our guests, we should just have a conversation about whatever and see where it goes. I'm super curious to talk to this guest because they are, I would say, a premier.
Bro,
I don't want to give away.
You're giving away too much, bro.
Yeah,
giving away too much already. Hey, let's end it there.
Yeah, man.
My guy. Episode 6.
Cheers.
Peace.